Hey there drone fans, Rick here again from Drone Valley. In today's clip, I'd like to show you just how easy it is to swap out the camera in the brand new Evo 2. Yesterday I posted a clip where I did an overview of the drone and I pointed out some of the key features and functions and innovation that the engineers from over at Autel Robotics were able to build into this incredibly smart drone. And I am so excited about this because I feel like they sat down, they thought long and hard about what this drone should be, and they really pushed the envelope in so many different areas. So for example, it'll fly 40 minutes, which is longer than any other drone in the air today. It'll fly 5.5 miles, which is well beyond visual line of sight. It has 360-degree obstacle avoidance, which means you can fly it around, you're not going to run into stuff. And it's got the best imaging package on the market today for a drone of this size. The best feature for me and the most compelling feature is that you can swap out the camera. So for example, you could start with the Evo 2, which has a 1/2-inch sensor, beautiful pictures, it'll record 8K, 6K, 4K video, all the resolutions you care about. It takes amazing pictures, but maybe down the road, you'd rather go for the 1-inch sensor. And I don't want you to have buyer remorse and think, oh man, why did I go for that Evo 2? I should have waited for the Pro. The best part is you don't have to buy the Pro, you just buy the camera. And in a couple of minutes on your kitchen table with a few tools, you can pop the camera out, pop the new camera in. And maybe even down the road beyond that, you decide, I'm going to do some rescue work and I want to put a dual camera in there. So I've got FLIR and imaging. You can buy one of those sensors and pop it in there. It's a really simple process to do. And there's no warranty violated. You don't have to send it off to the company for a couple of weeks to have them change the camera. It really is just that simple. Now, after I posted the clip yesterday, I got a ton of feedback from you guys with a lot of really good questions, and I'm working on a clip to answer the top 10 of those. But by far, the most popular question was, how much trouble is it to swap out that camera? And a couple of people called me out and said, it can't be that easy. It's got to be complicated. It really isn't that complicated. So what I'm going to do is actually swap it out now, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Now, I only have the 1/2-inch version. I don't even have the 1-inch sensor yet. I'm waiting for him to send me that, and I'll actually probably do a clip and update it and show you how to put it in there. But the cool thing is it's really straightforward to do. So to do this, you're going to want to find a flat surface. Typically, you're going to do it on a piece of cardboard or someplace that isn't hard like this because the screws are pretty small and they're going to bounce around. You only need 2 tools. You need a small Phillips head. I've got a 1.2 here, and you need a Torx T6, and that's going to release the camera. And I also have what's called a spudger. Now, if you don't know what a spudger is, it's essentially a piece of hard plastic that's got kind of a wedge on one end and a point in the other end. You could use a pencil or even your fingernail, but I like the spudger. It just makes it a little bit easier, and that's used for popping the cable out. Now, before you start the procedure, I want to warn you that you don't want to do this with the battery, and I'm an old school engineer, and the last thing you want to have is any kind of potential in this unit when you're swapping out the camera. So just as a safety procedure, pull the battery out, and that'll get you started. Flip it over. You're going to take the gimbal lock off next, and to do that, you'll squeeze on either side, release the gimbal lock, pull it off, and set that aside. Now you're ready to go. Now on the front of the quad, right behind where the camera is, you'll notice a piece of plastic with vents in it, and there are 2 screws in there that have to be removed. Now, I was thinking about this today, and I know when this thing hits the market, 85 people are going to immediately show you how to change out the camera, and that's going to be kind of boring to watch me work with tools and stuff like that. So I thought, man, how can I make this more interesting? How can I make it a little bit more daring, right? Why don't I do it blindfolded? So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Now, to be fair, I did do this today once or twice just to get the feel for it, but it really is that simple. So here I have a really nice blindfold. Don't ask me where I got this. It's actually a sleep mask. I'm going to put this on and I'm going to take out the camera. Now, I don't have another camera to replace it, and quite honestly, the screws are so small that I'm going to lose them for sure. I'll never find those holes again, but trust me, if I get it out, you'll see just how easy it is. So I've got the Phillips head right here, and I've got the Torx. So I'll just separate those because once I put it on, I can't see what I'm doing, and the spudger's ready to go. All right, so on goes the blindfold. This is going to be exciting. I don't know how this is going to go, so let's see. Don't laugh. Here we go. All right, we're done. Now I've got the Torx here. It's a T6, and I'm feeling along that top ridge, and I've got to find those 2 screws. Now those holes are up there someplace, and I probably should sing a song or something while I'm doing this, or maybe tell a joke. I don't know. Hey kids, don't do this at home. This is not something you want to do at home. All right, so the first one's loose. Let me find that second hole. It's over there somewhere. Now, the other thing that's cool about this is that you want to be careful, especially in the wintertime, that you've grounded yourself. So before you start this procedure at your kitchen table, sit down, touch a metal pipe or touch the sink, and make sure you've released all that static electricity. Okay, 2 screws. You saw that cover pops right off the box. Put that aside with the screws. Now we're moving on to the Phillips. Now, by pulling those 2 screws off and the cover off, that actually releases the camera. But the challenge is the camera connects to the drone through a cable that's up top here. And there are 2 tiny Phillips head screws, so you got to use a really small Phillips head screwdriver. I may have to cheat on this one because it's really hard to find those screws. And I'm thinking to myself, man, should I be telling a joke here or singing a song, something? All right, this can't be really exciting to watch. It's a lot easier if you're looking, but I don't want to cheat and look. I may have to pull it off in a second to look, but anyway, I'm getting started. All right, so let me tell you a joke. Let's see. How about if I tell you a riddle? That might be a little easier. So there was a farmer, and the farmer had 26 sheep. One died. How many does that leave him? Now think about that for a second. It's not an easy question to answer. You really got to think about it, because you would say normally if I've got 26 sheep, well, one died, I got 25 left. But the truth is you don't. So think about it a little bit. I'm still trying to find that Phillips head. Man, these screws are tiny. It's in there somewhere. Oh, got the first one. All right, so there's one. These are really, really small. So when you take these out, make sure you use a magnetic tip screwdriver. All right, that's one. Please let me find the second one. So 26 sheep. It's not 25. You'd think it'd be 25, you'd be wrong. And there's no funky math. It's not like I'm doing something special where the math is like crazy. It's not like we're going base 2 math or something. It's base 10 math. So again, 26 sheep. When you pull those two Phillips head screws out, there's a little cover, a metal cover that holds down on the connector that you got to pop off to get the camera out. Now if I find the spudger, I'll give you the answer to the riddle in a second, but let me make sure I do this right. I'll get the spudger here. Be really gentle on this cable. So you'll find the cable, comes back from the camera assembly, and then you pop off the connector. And once you get the connector free, that like that, you can see the connector. I'll do close-ups of these and insert them later on. By the way, there's no editing here. This isn't one of those David Blaine tricks where they edit it out and then all of a sudden, boom, the camera's out. I'm doing this live. There's no edits. All right, so I've got the cable disconnected, and there's your camera. And that's pretty much it. All right, the answer to the riddle before I get into it is he had 26 sheep. You'd think, well, one died, he's got 25. But I said he's got 26 sheep. So if one dies, he's got 19. Anyway, that's it for this one. So there you go. There's the camera. And man, that's tough coming out from behind that blindfold. But anyway, you'll see in the camera, and I'll do close-ups of all this. On the front, there were 2 holes on the frame assembly. There are actually 2 little posts that stick out. So when you put the camera back in, you want to put it in like this. So you center it on those 2 posts, connect it up to the back, put the connector in first. Be gentle when you put that thing in. Just push it down. Make sure it's firmly seated right from the center. Put the 2 Phillips head screws in with the cover on top of it. Bolt it back down with that other cover on top of it, and you're good to go. Now, I will tell you, there are no procedures needed to calibrate anything. So the software can recognize the 1/2 inch, the 1 inch, and the dual cameras. But I will tell you, once you put the camera in there, you might want to do a gimbal calibration, because again, you're messing around with this thing. It's always a good idea when you have problems with your camera to actually do that gimbal calibration. And that's really easy to do through the software. And that's pretty much it. So I don't think that whole thing, I didn't time it and I kind of goofed up in those Phillips, but I don't think that whole thing took me 60 seconds. And if I had the other camera, now that I'm looking at it, I could put it back in really quickly. So it isn't that big a deal. And all you guys out there that were saying, oh, it's got to be complicated, I did it blindfolded. It can't be that tricky, right? So that's pretty much it for today. I love this drone. I talked a lot about it yesterday. I've got a ton more clips coming. I've had it for a couple of weeks and I've been out flying it like mad. I just really think it's really innovative and it's really leading edge, and they've done some great job around the engineering in this thing. For me, this is the drone to own right now. And again, I don't work for Autel. I'm just a guy who loves technology, and I give you my honest opinion, and I get accused of being a fanboy for other companies all the time. I'm a fan of technology. If you build something like this, I'm in your camp. So I like this product. I hope this was helpful. Thanks an awful lot for watching, and until next time, happy flying.